Everything is about to change in the world of Foundation. A single meeting, one moment, can shift the fate of billions. In Episode 6, the mysterious and brilliant Hari Seldon finally steps into the spotlight. What he says, what he plans, and the secrets he carries could rewrite the future of the Foundation forever. Every choice, every glance, every word matters. And as the walls of power and control start to shake, no one will be the same again. This is the episode that could turn everything upside down. Are you ready to see the meeting that changes everything? The galaxy had always seemed steady, predictable, but beneath the surface, tensions were building. The Foundation, a beacon of hope and knowledge, had faced challenges before, yet nothing like this. In the corridors of power, whispers carried stories of unrest, betrayal, and hidden plans. Leaders and citizens alike felt the subtle tremor of change, though few understood its true cause. The sense of calm was fragile, a thin layer over chaos waiting to erupt. Everyone knew something important was about to happen, but no one could predict its scale. At the heart of this tension was the legend of Hari Seldon, a figure who had always been shrouded in mystery. Rumors of his abilities and knowledge had traveled across stars, stirring both awe and fear. Some claimed he could predict the future, while others believed he could change it. Now, after long years of anticipation, he was finally appearing at a critical moment. His arrival was not just another event. It was a turning point. The leaders of the Foundation, the people who had relied on their own judgments for so long, were about to face the truth of their limitations. In the city's great halls, preparations were underway. Strategists discussed plans, soldiers patrolled key areas, and the air was thick with uncertainty. Every movement, every conversation seemed heavier than before, as if the very atmosphere was aware that a great shift was coming. The cameras of destiny were turning toward a single point, a single meeting that promised to shake everything the Foundation thought it knew. Ordinary citizens, unaware of the full stakes, felt the tension like a low hum beneath their daily lives. Even small disagreements carried weight, and even casual remarks hinted at hidden fears. The galaxy was poised on the edge of transformation. Meanwhile, far from the central halls, scattered across planets and outposts, individuals experienced their own uneasy feelings. Traders, scientists, and wanderers alike sensed something extraordinary approaching. Some felt excitement, others dread. But the most compelling feeling was curiosity. What could Hari Seldon bring that had been kept secret for so long? His presence promised answers, yet questions multiplied with every rumor. Would he unite the galaxy or drive it further into chaos? And who would emerge stronger or weaker once the meeting concluded? This episode begins not with action but with anticipation. The camera of the mind focuses on those who wait, those who prepare, and those who can almost feel the tremors of change in their bones. Every glance exchanged in the halls carries meaning. Every silence speaks louder than words. The galaxy is holding its breath. The first step toward a moment that could change history has arrived. And as the audience, we feel it too, an almost electric tension that hints at revelations, betrayals, and choices that could alter everything. For Hari Seldon, the moment of entrance is more than just a meeting. It is a test of patience, strategy, and insight. The stage is set, and the players are in place. Some will rise, some will falter, and some may never recover from what is about to unfold. But before the meeting begins, before the fateful conversations occur, the calm before the storm must be felt, understood, and lived. The tension is thick, the anticipation tangible, and the fate of the Foundation itself seems to pause for a heartbeat. This is where Episode 6 begins. In the quiet, the stillness, the unspoken knowledge that everything is about to shift. The audience can almost feel the weight of destiny pressing down, the pressure of secrets waiting to be revealed, and the subtle trembling of a galaxy on the brink. As we follow each character preparing for the pivotal encounter, we understand that nothing will ever be the same again. The first steps of change have begun, and the story is about to move forward with a force that cannot be stopped. As the galaxy held its breath, shadows began to stretch across the Foundation's leadership. Even among trusted allies, doubt had started to creep in. Conversations that once flowed freely were now filled with half-spoken suspicions and careful glances. In the council chambers, every word spoken seemed loaded with double meaning. No one could be certain who truly understood the magnitude of what was coming. The knowledge of Hari Seldon's arrival was both a beacon of hope and a spark of fear. People were caught between anticipation and apprehension, unsure if this meeting would unite them or tear everything apart. Outside the chambers, the city itself seemed to reflect the tension. Streets that were usually bustling with activity carried an unusual quiet, as though the citizens themselves sensed the significance of the day. Marketplaces moved slower, eyes lifted more often to the sky, and small gestures like a nod or a smile felt weighted with meaning. The galaxy was not just watching, it was waiting. And waiting, in this context, was a dangerous state because it allowed suspicion to grow and alliances to falter. Every footstep echoed, every whisper mattered, and every glance could be a signal of loyalty or betrayal. Among the main characters, nerves were stretched taut. Some felt excitement at the prospect of finally witnessing Hari Seldon in action, hoping his knowledge could guide the Foundation through the storm ahead. Others, however, feared that the secrets he carried could destabilize everything they had worked for. The tension was not simply between friends and foes, it was internal. The heroes faced their own doubts, wondering whether they were ready to face truths that could shatter their perceptions. In the quiet moments before the meeting, private thoughts raced faster than any official messages or commands. Hearts pounded, palms sweated, and minds spun with endless possibilities. Far from the political halls, other players in the galaxy sensed the shift as well. Rival factions, hidden observers, and distant allies all reacted in ways that hinted at coming turbulence. Some prepared for negotiation, while others quietly sharpened strategies for confrontation. The galaxy, vast as it was, seemed to shrink around the gravity of Hari Seldon's presence. Even the most powerful figures could not ignore it. Rumors, speculations, and old prophecies began circulating again, each one bending perceptions and testing trust. What was true? What was rumor? And what role would Hari play in deciding the course of everything? The tension reached a palpable point as the hour of the meeting drew near. Every movement in the corridors was measured, deliberate, as if time itself slowed to accommodate the magnitude of the moment. Security forces moved silently, their eyes alert to any anomaly. Advisors whispered strategies in dimly lit corners. And amidst it all, the ordinary citizens carried on, unaware of the storm about to break but unknowingly participating in its buildup. The galaxy was a theater of suspense, and every player was on the stage, waiting for the curtain to rise. As Episode 6 moves forward, the story begins to weave together these strands of suspicion, anxiety, and anticipation. Characters who once seemed steady now reveal hidden cracks. Alliances appear stronger than ever, yet are fragile under the pressure of approaching truth. Every glance, every gesture, every brief interaction carries significance. The audience senses it, the characters feel it, and the galaxy itself seems to hold its breath for what is about to unfold. And then, as the first hints of Hari Seldon's arrival appear on the horizon, the subtle tremor of change becomes undeniable. No one can predict what will happen next. Friendships may be tested, power may shift, and secrets that have lain dormant for years may finally surface. A calm before the storm is over. The shadows of suspicion are moving, and Episode 6 is ready to reveal the forces that will shape the future. The story is poised to enter a phase where every choice, every action, and every revelation will ripple through the galaxy with consequences that cannot be undone. Asterisk, the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. Hari Seldon appeared, not with a grand announcement, but with a presence that instantly drew attention. The room seemed to shift in his wake, as if the air itself recognized the weight of his knowledge. Eyes turned instinctively toward him, some filled with hope, others with doubt, and a few with barely concealed fear. In that instant it became clear this was no ordinary meeting. This was the moment the course of the Foundation could change. Forever, Seldon's demeanor was calm, almost serene, yet there was an intensity in his gaze that demanded focus. He moved with purpose, every gesture deliberate, every word measured. The people around him could feel the silent force of his intellect pressing against the boundaries of their understanding. He did not need to shout or command. His very presence communicated authority. In subtle ways, the air seemed charged, the atmosphere taut with anticipation. Even those who had long doubted his methods could not ignore the undeniable pull of his mind. As the meeting began, the dialogue was more than just conversation. It was strategy, revelation, and calculation woven into every exchange. Hari Seldon did not simply answer questions. He reframed them, offering perspectives that forced the listeners to confront truths they had never considered. Every statement carried implications that rippled across the room, shaking assumptions and challenging strategies. The leaders of the Foundation felt the ground shift beneath their feet. Plans that had seemed uncheckable now appeared fragile. The certainty they had relied on was suddenly in question. The tension in the room was mirrored by the subtle movements outside. Watchers, allies, and adversaries alike felt the tremor of this pivotal moment. Information leaked through whispers and intercepted signals. The galaxy seemed to react to Seldon before he even spoke fully. Each revelation, each calculated phrase, planted seeds of change. Some leaders nodded in understanding, recognizing the brilliance of Seldon's foresight. Others recoiled slightly, uneasy with the scope of what was being unveiled. It was clear that the meeting was not just a simple exchange of ideas, it was a collision of destinies. What made this meeting even more dramatic was the undercurrent of personal stakes. Seldon did not only speak to the collective power of the Foundation. He reached into the individual doubts and ambitions of those present. Every eye that met his held a question, and he answered in ways that were both precise and unsettling. Characters who had prided themselves on their judgment now questioned their own choices. Allies who had thought themselves secure felt a shift in balance. In this room, decisions made, attitudes formed, and secrets revealed would echo far beyond these walls. And yet there was also hope. Amid the tension and uncertainty, Seldon's guidance offered a vision, a glimpse of order in chaos, a path through the storm. For those willing to listen, it was inspiring, reassuring, and at times, almost revolutionary. The meeting was not only a test of intellect, but a test of faith in the plan, faith in the possibilities, and faith in the future the Foundation sought to create. The audience, watching this unfold, senses both the fragility and the potential of what Hari Seldon represents. By the end of this pivotal meeting, the stage is set for monumental change. Loyalties will be tested, strategies will be reshaped, and the galaxy itself will respond to the insights revealed. Episode 6 does not simply entertain, it transforms the story. The arrival of Hari Seldon is not a fleeting moment, it is a turning point. And as the audience follows each subtle reaction, each careful word, and each revealed truth, it becomes clear that the Foundation and the galaxy will never be the same again. The room fell silent as Hari Seldon's words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. What had begun as a simple meeting had transformed into a moment that none of the leaders or even the citizens would forget. The implications of what was revealed were immediate, though subtle. No one could act the same way as before. Decisions that had once seemed clear were now clouded with uncertainty. Trust, strategy, and power had shifted in ways that were almost imperceptible, yet unstoppable. Every mind in the room began racing, each calculating how to adapt, respond, or resist. Outside the chambers, the tremors of change were spreading. The citizens of the Foundation, unaware of every detail, felt something different in the air. Conversations at marketplaces and public squares carried tension, curiosity, and a hint of fear. Rumors spread faster than official announcements. Hari Seldon has arrived, they said. Everything is different now. People began to question what they knew, what they trusted, and what the future might hold. The galaxy, vast and complex, suddenly seemed smaller, more fragile, and more alive with possibility. The seeds of transformation were planted, and their growth could not be contained. Within the leadership, the reactions were even more dramatic. Some saw opportunity, an opening to assert influence, to align with the vision Hari had unveiled. or to capitalize on new insights. Others felt exposed, vulnerable, and uncertain. Past decisions were weighed again, mistakes reconsidered, and ambitions reevaluated. Alliances shifted subtly. Eyes that once held confidence now flickered with doubt. Every glance carried new meaning. Every handshake, every nod seemed charged with tension. In these quiet moments, the power dynamics of the Foundation were being rewritten before anyone could fully articulate it, but the impact was not limited to strategy or politics. The meeting with Hari Seldon awakened deeper questions about destiny, morality, and purpose. Individuals who had once acted without hesitation now hesitated, weighed by the potential consequences of each action. The idea that one person's knowledge could influence the fate of billions was no longer theoretical, it was real, immediate, and daunting. The heroes of the story were forced to confront their limitations, and the audience feels that weight as they watch. There was hope, but also fear. And the balance between the two would define the choices to come. As the episode unfolds, the ripple effect becomes more apparent. Minor characters, previously overlooked, gain significance as their decisions intersect with the new reality Seldon has revealed. Small actions take on enormous consequences. Subplots that seemed isolated suddenly converge. The tension escalates, the stakes rise, and the sense of urgency deepens. What was once a controlled and orderly foundation now feels alive, unpredictable, and dangerous. And the audience, swept up in the drama, can sense the unfolding chaos lurking just beneath the surface. Episode 6 ends not with answers, but with questions that demand resolution. Who will rise as a leader? Who will falter under pressure? Which secrets will be exploited, and which truths will guide the galaxy forward? Hari Seldon's presence has changed the rules. The meeting was not a conclusion, it was a catalyst. Every character, every faction, and every citizen must now navigate a world that has shifted beneath their feet. Choices matter more than ever. And the consequences will echo far beyond this single episode. The story leaves viewers on the edge, both satisfied by the revelations and anxious about what comes next. Episode 6 is not just an installment, it is a turning point. It reminds the audience that in the universe of Foundation, knowledge is power, foresight is danger, and a single meeting can alter the destiny of millions. The stage is set, the players are in motion, and the galaxy waits, suspended between uncertainty and possibility. The ripples of Hari Seldon's presence are only beginning, and what follows will be both breathtaking and unpredictable.